I'm really going to look forward to editing this when I'm just got my eyeballs just, oh. All right, everyone, we're doing a little something different this time. Usually kind of before we kick off the new season of Popcorn Bucket List, we'll do like a blooper video or something like that. The interns this year did not do a very good job of keeping the footage together.
No, they were terrible. Terrible.
And by interns, I mean me. But I did have another idea. This summer, we had our 100th episode, and in doing so, I had to go back and get a quick screenshot of it, and immediately I had like a what were we doing vibe. So, as a little something special, we are going to live react to the pilot episode.
The very first episode. I'm so excited.
I was just before we hit play here. What do you remember? Well, before
I remember the old set.
Yeah.
I remember I wanted to wear band shirts every episode.
Yeah, that was a running game.
I still I have a ton of band shirts, but after like a couple of months, it was like
it just kind of died down.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have any more. Yeah.
I remember at one point when we started really becoming friends, you were just kind of like, hey, we should do a movie show. And I was like, long story short, back in St. Cloud my first year, I'd kind of come up with this concept, Popcorn Bucket List. So this is technically I still consider it the pilot because this is what the show became. But at the time, when I first came up with the idea, it was literally just me in front of a green screen just talking for like 5 minutes straight. And I like did it. I recorded it one time because there was this like thing up in St. Cloud I was doing, and I was like, I don't know. It's there. It's just something was missing.
It's just, yeah.
And then you pitched this. You were like, hey, we should do a movie show. I was like, that's what's missing. It needs a co-host. It needs someone for me to bounce
That's it,
off
baby.
And yeah, we've a couple years later, and here we go. So let's go ahead and watch. This is at the. I remember making these title graphics too, by the way.
I was gonna say that actually looks pretty similar to.
Yeah.
Welcome to Popcorn Bucket.
Okay.
We recommend movies that we think.
Okay. So I kind of told you this before. The beard. We got to address the beard.
Excited to sit here and do.
I think if I remember correctly, back in the day.
Joining me on this quest.
You want to pause it?
Yeah.
So, throughout most of pretty much all of high school, and I don't know why, my parents were very anti me having like any facial hair.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I think there was a point when I was in college where I was like, you know what? I'm an adult now. I can do what I want. I'm going to grow a beard.
Yep.
And I overcompensated with the beard.
I think it's great. I can't grow a beard, so I think it's cool. As you can see, my facial hair in here is the exact same as it is now. Like, it's probably better there than it is now.
I don't know. I'm going for some real Duck Dynasty vibes there.
Yeah.
Another movie aficionado.
It's just us two, a couple lavalier mics.
Others know
we didn't have computers or anything. I printed it off.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Also,
Jabroni.
Oh my god, the beard's even worse from the side.
Recap the movies that came out the previous month.
But
kind of show the
so at this time we kind of had a crew.
Yeah, we did.
We usually had someone in the control room.
Each of our own,
and we sometimes had someone on the floor communicating with us too.
Yeah.
So you'll notice your volume was really down at first.
Yeah.
We're going to be recapping a few months here. We're going to be recapping.
Yeah, that's right. We did a whole month, not just weekly.
Yeah.
Such a big movie month.
Not only that, it was December. So that was that huge blockbuster thing.
Blockbusters and Oscar contenders.
How old is this? Like 2 years old?
So
Year and a
why
half?
don't we just get this
I want to say it was the end of 2019.
Yeah, so this will be... Because, I know she said coming back to movie theaters.
We're talking about three movies.
There it is.
We're talking about Mary Poppins, Aquaman, and Bumblebee. The long-awaited Transformers origin story.
Why did I have to look down at
And
the
the reason
paper
why
to remember those three
We were
movies?
way more scripted, I feel like,
Yeah.
at the time.
Peak weekend before Christmas.
Because we still make an outline there. You still make an outline.
But it's way more just me putting like a couple words just to remind myself, like,
Yeah.
okay, here's
First, let's look
where
at
we're
the
at.
critical responses. So you'll notice across
Critics.
the board here,
Who
there's
cares
no
about
outliers
critics?
as far as bad reviews.
I'm
These are
wondering,
very respectable,
Transformers had a
scores.
92 critic, really?
Overall.
Well, that was that
What would you
Bumblebee
say
movie,
is
remember?
the
That was
number
kind of
one
the
you noticed
renaissance
looking
there.
at
True.
this chart here?
For the
Those
critical
movies-
response, I thought definitely was Bumblebee with 92%. That was pretty high for I wasn't thinking.
I
it was
feel
gonna
like our
be quite
graphics
that
have
high.
improved a little bit, but
yeah.
not much more than
Not
what they were.
much, yeah.
That's
It got
a
92.
good on me.
So
That's a
it
great
was a good
Fitbit,
movie.
by the way.
Yeah,
Shout out
as
to
someone who
Fitbit. I
is
saw
a
mine.
Transformers
It's great.
I still have that
this
shirt.
is
Yeah.
Very,
I was gonna say I have that shirt. It's
Obviously,
I had a nice
the
little color
previous
scheme:
Transformers
green hat,
series movies.
green ghost shirt.
I
You
haven't
put
looked at it in
more-
a while, but
We
I
put a
think it's
lot
safe to say
more
I haven't
thought into
close
the
to
wardrobe. back
Yes.
then.
I will give you,
Yes.
however,
Now it's like,
obviously,
oh, this is what I'm
Bumblebee,
wearing today.
Overall,
Yep.
very enjoyable film.
You sound different too.
So
I
it
do
is
a little
interesting
bit.
that
I do.
critics score going as high as
I wonder if that
92%
was
for
partially
Transformers.
because of the mic.
And the
Oh
fan
yeah, that's a
score,
good point.
That was just for after my first watch.
regardless, still
I wonder
worth
how much
checking out,
hair I
and,
had.
we
Like
look
if I
forward
take
to
Under
my
the
hat
hat,
off,
yeah.
yeah.
Next, I want to talk about Aquaman here.
It's been a couple
the
stressful
critic
years for
score
me too.
feels
I've
about right on
definitely
this one.
lost a lot of hair.
Fan
up there.
score, I figured this would have been a little bit higher.
As did I.
You're a
Mainly
big
because
DC fan, of
although
course you want it
Aquaman
higher.
is primarily known as
Hindsight, how do you think those
Joker
compare
DC
now?
Universe,
What's
Jason
that
Momoa
movie?
seems to
6'4",
have,
78 or
fans
something?
over
I would still
Aquaman.
say I think that's a
I'll
little low
admit
for
myself,
Aquaman, especially
wasn't a huge
considering how
fan of
that's
Justice League.
Jason
I
Momoa,
really
especially,
enjoyed
is one of the
this
only
movie.
like fan
And I
favorite
figured
things
the
that
fans would
have
have really pulled for a higher
Come
score.
on.
like not only have
Yeah,
the fans
I,
still stuck with
I
him,
agree
but it
with
seems
you
like the studio
100%
still stick
on
by
that.
him.
Yeah.
Like,
Going into the movie, I didn't really think.
Critic and fan score.
I have way too
as
rednecky
far
of
as
a
where they
beard for us to
landed.
have
One thing I will say
paper and
is
pen
it is
Paper and
very
pencil,
like
yeah.
news reporter. Like I feel like Jon Stewart in the Daily
Yeah.
Show, but like when he's like retired.
Basically,
Yeah.
thing I've
No,
if
you do
like
kind
the
of remind me of
original,
like a
you're gonna
person
like this
delivering it
one.
on
You
the
didn't like
news.
the original, you're probably not
Probably
gonna
not.
like this one. The songs are good.
I think that's kind of what we were
fun.
going for. We were going
So the
almost for like an
acting is really
entertainment news
Overall, it was
at
just
that
kind
time.
of,
And then it
Did they
kind of
have
morphed
the
into what it is
dancing
today, which
penguins in
is
this
just
one?
kind of the sit down
I believe they
podcast.
have
Yeah.
that.
We got
There is
3
a
likes
big
on this
advance.
video.
Next,
So
we're
that's
All
gonna
right,
have
there we
something
go,
from a
yeah.
small box office perspective. Obviously, money is a huge part when it comes to Hollywood movies, so this is all that really matters at the end
Yeah,
of the day.
at
if
the
you
end
ask
of the
some
day,
people.
yep.
Yeah, I
You'll
think
notice
we went
broke
way
it down
more in
from
depth
domestic,
with box
international, and
office
total,
and critic
Yeah.
scores
mainly
way
because
back
if you look
then.
at just the totals
Aquaman
alone,
made $1 billion.
Aquaman.
Yeah, yeah, it's the only
Pardon the pun here,
DCEU
blows
movie
you
still
into the
today.
Yep.
That has made $1 billion.
Largely
That's
a part
crazy.
I think that was part of the reason why we were so surprised by the lower
tricky.
critic score.
due to
Yeah.
the fact
Was
that
'cause, like,
some
well, so many
movies
people saw
actually
it
premiered
and
in
really
liked it.
international
Yeah.
markets earlier. Sometimes they market it way later. Deadpool 2
Here I
didn't
am just
come out
explaining how we only
international
focused
until a
on
few months
domestic
ago.
box
So the
office,
fact that
which
it's almost
is
been out for a
that's
year.
still something I feel like we
Anything
do.
else you notice
Usually
here
when we
on
talk
the
about box office, we try to focus on domestic.
Not
just so
really.
it's-
I kind of
Yeah.
Less
I'm going
confusing,
along the same line
to
as
say
you,
the
whereas
least.
Yeah.
Aquaman almost tripled Mary Poppins or quadrupled Mary Poppins total. But I also agree with Aquaman has much more of a wider
Aquaman's,
appeal.
what do you
Aquaman's, yeah.
key and peel?
Yeah.
Worldwide than
Aquaman.
Mary
I
I got them
Poppins.
Aquamans up here though.
That has a lot to do with
He's
it.
up against his Liam Neeson.
Yeah, and even if you look at the domestic,
I have no
totals,
idea what I was
still
trying to say
Aquaman, the premier version, not even
Still a
close.
running theme today.
And one of the
I
things
should-
that you
although
notice,
definitely not
Mary
as-
Poppins actually does
Definitely not.
feature Bumblebee.
Back then, though, I feel like both of
Yeah.
us, a lot of
So
times, I would have to
there
cut because we
were
were like,
people out
we would
there
just trail
who
off.
Just ramble.
decided to go to
Yeah.
a musical.
Who was the soldier guy?
Oh, John Cena.
John Cena. I don't think
John
people want to see John Cena as another army officer guy.
As much as I wanted
Has his,
to defend John Cena,
Jobs changed that much as casting?
It really hasn't. It really hasn't. Although, now that you say that, I remember, I don't know if he was running the control room, but I remember our friend Sam was in there. And he's a big WWE fan. And I either said something during a break or afterwards, or maybe I'm saying it right now, something bad about John Cena. And he was just like looking up at me, just going like, what the heck, dude? Like from the control room. And I like afterwards, I had to like clarify. I was like, I like him. I like him as a person.
If you look at the critical reviews on it, obviously.
We really went hard on the critical reviews of box
Yeah,
office
yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think a lot of people have the same mindset you did, where
Yeah.
they didn't
I really
expect
thought that'd be the interesting part of the episode.
Yeah.
I was wrong on
Which I think kind of makes these reviews. We're gonna come back here to talk about our number one recommends. We haven't even gotten to our favorites of December yet.
No, we haven't.
So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with
Did
our
we
number one
preview
recommends.
any of the movies coming out in December yet? Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This was also okay. So I was really trying to push or build my resume to be like, hey, I can edit a 30-minute TV show with commercial breaks.
Yeah.
So I took the PSAs we would run for football and basketball and put them in there. And I remember one of our good friends, Reed, he came up to me one day, he's like, do you have to put those in there? I mean, I can't skip them. Because on YouTube, you usually have skippable ads, and you can't skip these.
Reed, shout out if you're watching.
He has more influence over this show than I think he realizes.
I, being 26, didn't really know much.
Whoa.
Oh my god, you're the age I am now.
Yeah.
When we film this, you're the age I am now.
Like, because what was the last film?
This is almost 5 years
Oh
ago.
my gosh, yeah.
The Big Short.
The Big Short, and I thought that was great.
Did this come out in
So I'm going into
2018? I thought it was
thinking I would learn
2019.
A little
I
bit
could be
about
wrong.
Dick Cheney, maybe about why he was a good or bad vice president, and
But I do remember Vice. That was,
Yeah,
that was
Vice
good. That was a good
Yeah.
recommend.
this guy was crazy, and let alone just the story.
Christian
but
Bale did a
how
great
about,
job.
Christian Bale's
Great job.
performance.
You can
Man,
also tell how
abs-
lazy I was with
absolutely-
editing. We're
yeah,
not
absolutely
playing
wonderful.
clips
Just
like we
looking
are
at
now.
him,
I just
yeah.
took
You-
one Google image and
You
threw it
wouldn't
in there.
know
Yeah.
right away that that was him. The way he put on, the way he talked, just everything that goes into the movie, talking about his life leading up to his chance to run as vice president with George W. Bush. And,
W.
just a fantastic movie. That's my number one.
When did the
pick.
movie
It really,
W
and
come
I
out?
like it.
The
It
George
really
Bush one.
emphasizes on.
That
was-
came out before
like, what it
Vice?
That came out
needs to happen.
before. Are you talking about the one with, wasn't it Josh Brolin?
Yeah, Josh Brolin.
Yeah, I think that one
Yeah.
came out
The
way
old
before.
comic book days, the bigger, stronger you are, the bigger sword you have, the more power you have. It's about these loose connections and people you know and how you influence stuff. And I just thought it was.
I don't know who's running that control room, but we need to
I
cut to a
couldn't
tight
agree
on
more
you
about
way-
the comment on Christian
way
Bale.
sooner.
I remember
Yeah.
the first time I watched
It was
it.
probably Mitch.
Yeah, well, remember the time my nose started running?
So yeah, this wasn't this episode, but this is a little behind the scenes on another episode. You had a really bad cold, and I saw it like starting to run down your nose, and you had tissues. We were prepared, so I started to monologue and was like looking at my camera, like saying like I was like trying to telepathically tell Mitch in the control room
Take it.
switch to this camera, and you couldn't hold it anymore, and you made the weirdest sound
Yeah.
of just like.
Because it was
And
just-
I just yelled, "Would you switch to camera 3, please?"
Yeah, and I remember that because I'm sitting there looking at the camera.
We're both
Feeling
We're
it.
both trying to tell him, "Switch,
Yeah.
please."
And
for love."
I'm pretty sure everybody else noticed it.
Yeah.
But they were like,
He
why
couldn't
is he
see
doing
it.
it? Why is he wiping his nose?
Yeah. Oh god, this was that time Spider-Verse
Going
came out
into this
too.
year, I thought
Oh, yeah.
those two would be a shoe-in for best Oscar for animated
Yeah.
movie. Now, not only do I think we have a competitor here, I think we have a
Did Spider-Man win?
It, I think it did.
Because what did you say you thought would have been the shoe-in?
Already on track now to probably win the Oscar as well, and well-deserved man Into the Spider-Verse. This was a tough choice for me at first, and then as I started thinking about it more, I thought, why wouldn't this movie be number one? Going into this year, I thought Incredibles 2 would be a shoe-in.
Oh, Incredibles.
Oh, that was the same year. No, I think Incredibles 2.
Now, not only do I think
can't remember
we have
what
a
won.
competitor here, I think
But that was a good year for animation. Those were two great movies.
For best animated
That's true.
feature.
That's true.
Already on track now to probably win the Oscar as well, and well deserved. The animation style is something we've never really seen before. Seems like something we would have seen before, but
It is
something
interesting looking back. We just talked about this
creatively
in whatever
just
episode would have been recently, but
challenging
like,
and
yeah, Spider-Verse did kind of roll in a new sort of animation that we are kind of finally seeing come more and more today. It took 5 years or so, but yeah, it got the ball rolling.
Yeah.
So, you know, we predicted a few things.
We did.
We weren't too
Now we
crazy.
move on to January. Now this is a month that doesn't have as much of the
So we
glitz and
ended
glamour.
with the previews.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mainly because a lot of studios try to put their stuff into December.
And one of the first months we
Trying to get
previewed,
the possible
January.
bids.
One of the
So,
worst
you know,
months.
This is kind of the
Yeah.
We really do have
so this
time.
one shouldn't take us too long to go over
No.
here. Ryan, you have a little bit of an honorable mention you want to talk about. I unfortunately haven't seen this movie. Why don't you talk to us about Escape Room a little bit?
Escape
Yes,
Room.
Now this, I knew this movie wasn't gonna win any awards. I knew it wasn't gonna be groundbreaking
Cool picture, though.
or
Yeah, it's
anything
not a
like
bad
that.
poster.
Oh.
However, I did find it enjoyable to watch. I personally have not done an escape room yet, but a lot of my
Looking back on it
friends
now,
have,
first of
and
all,
what they've
do
told
you still
me,
stand by your escape
you
room
know, about
thoughts?
how it works and
Yeah.
for the clues.
Second of
That's
all,
not-
have you done
when I
an
went and
escape
watched
room
this
since
movie,
I've
then?
not
I
done
thought
escape
about
room
that,
yet,
like,
so not.
You know, if you
I
did
think we've
end
like
up in
we've
this
done
some
escape
sort of
room like
escape room,
small
how would you
games
go
like
about
with
trying to get out?
like the
Let
board
alone
game
if you
escape
don't
room
get out,
things,
you're gonna die,
but
you
I've
know,
never
like
been
that's-
to like an official
that's a whole
escape
different
room.
aspect to it. But each
I could get
room
out,
is
though.
very different.
Take
and,
that to the bank.
in the film, all the rooms died back on.
My number one pick is the movie Glass. Now, I don't know what it is.
I
about
forgot this movie came out
universe of
too.
Shyamalan that's filled with this. It's that third act that people do kind of get in a dispute over, and I have to say it didn't bother me really.
No,
And I still stand by that.
I did
Yeah.
too. It kind of going along. the lines
But then
of
again,
third
I don't
act,
think I've seen
kind
it
of
since I
wants
watched
you
it in
to-
theaters too. So if I
Yeah.
rewatched it, I don't know. This is
That's
one of the
right,
last
that's
movies
how
I
it happens
think,
in all the
the last
superhero
good
movies
Bruce
and
Willis
how it-
movie where
Yeah.
he was
how
like
it's
really
supposed to go
trying.
down.
You know,
And especially
not
what we,
doesn't.
especially what we know
That-
now, like I feel like we should kind of
trope
appreciate that a
telling you
little
what's
bit
gonna
more.
happen and then doing it.
So what exactly were we trying to do with the third
So that's
part
my
of
number one
the-
pick.
I don't remember.
Because it feels like what we would call the weekly preview, but like
Yeah.
I've
It's nice
seen
to see
Glass.
the
Like
characters
usually when we do the
see
weekly preview,
those come back
we
as
haven't seen them
film.
yet.
Yeah.
So
To see those characters back on the screen. So Ryan, I've done my little pitch trying to convince people of Glass. Why don't you give
it
us
just
your
feels like number one recommend again.
All right.
Yeah.
My number one pick is go slightly a little different. Did not get the best reviews, but I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan. I like him a lot. John Wick
What was
movies, all
this? You were
those
gonna
long.
what Keanu Reeves
I
movie
went and
was this?
saw Replicas,
Oh, replica. This movie's not very good.
but it's a very
You don't stand by this
Yeah,
as much anymore.
well,
put him in a robot.
but I stand by
Would you
Keanu
do
Reeves
that?
is the man.
You know, and we're also
Stand by
seeing
that.
things
He's
Oh,
awesome.
coming up
that's
with the Alita
yeah,
Battle.
that's for sure.
And do you try to hide that they're robots? Do you let them know that they're robots? How does it, or not, excuse me, not robots, replicas, not robots, excuse me, sorry, but I like
It's
it.
a big
It was
deal.
fun.
Our apologies to
Yeah.
the robot
Action.
community.
Yeah,
Keanu Reeves doing his thing, saying some great lines, and
he does say some. I do remember that he does say some pretty good.
Something to check out.
classic
These days,
lines.
hopefully. Obviously, since we're getting to this a little bit later, some of these movies might not be in theaters. Some of them are in some of the larger chains. But for those of you who do wish to watch all of our number one recommends for
Who
both
do?
December and January,
Come on,
Vice
that's
will be
good.
coming out on DVD on April 2nd.
Oh, they're already coming out on DVD.
March 19th. And it's a little.
Oh yeah, I
early,
recommended,
announced
or we.
the
I would take our
release
number one
of
recommends and be like, if you
Replicas,
missed the December ones, because by the time we got to that, it was so late. Yeah, we're already
That's
sure
true.
about DVDs.
Yeah.
Probably when those will be coming out.
But also-
so there you have
DVDs,
it.
where
This
do you rent
was-
DVDs
Our
from?
number one
I was gonna say this
picks
was
for
probably
January.
before the
If
big
you don't
streaming
like them,
boom
then,
of
go out
Yeah.
and
COVID-19 and
test
everything
them.
too. So
Politely though.
Yeah, COVID wasn't even a thing when we started this.
not even
So when we
close.
come
That's
back from
crazy.
the break, we're gonna finally start previewing February.
You're gonna have to
despite
bleep
fact
the
that
COVID
it's
so we don't
almost
get
over here, but we still want
misinformation.
What demonetization? We're not monetized yet.
Sure.
It's not.
Sure.
As to which movies we think are going to succeed in February, and we'll see if we get. Any
Do we do like a 5-month preview? Jeez.
We've covered December, January, and we're looking at February here. Yeah.
That's so funny that we put these in there.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. That's funny.
I found there was a few we had for our PSA lineups that were kind of movie related. So
Yeah.
like that one had Danny Trejo in it, so I made sure to grab those. So it was really just kind of 5 PSAs that I kind of kept swapping through the months.
We would like to just February the 8th. That's another big weekend.
Cold
Over the
Pursuit!
weekend.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pursuit coming out.
yes.
Yet another Liam Neeson revenge movie. You think he'd be done with those by now, but this time.
Get to find this. How many Liam Neeson movies have we previewed since then?
Yeah.
This is obviously the sequel to basically about a kid who becomes a child
I
prodigy.
didn't throw it to you as much back then. I feel like I just kind of rushed through a lot of these.
And
We
then
barely
also
give
coming
any
out that
information.
weekend
Yeah.
is,
Nowadays, we
One.
spend like
This
at
is
least
the
5 minutes
female
per
remake
movie.
of
Yeah.
And here it's like
Talking about who it is.
Yeah, who's in it, what's it about,
Then,
our first
the
thoughts.
next week is when things. And
Yeah.
with that, we're going to go into what we like to predict for the month. How we're going to do this, we are going to.
Pretty sure I won this
We're
too,
going to
right?
place bets on which one we think is going to.
I think I was the
Financially,
No,
winning
You
tally.
kept saying you won, but we never really kept track.
I'm pretty sure I got it written down somewhere.
Depending on release dates.
Proof or it didn't happen.
we
All right,
decided
I'll
that
see if I
we'll
can
base
find it.
solely on opening weekend.
So yeah, I remember this now. So we would bet on the opening, on which movie we
Because it's
thought would
really
have the
hard
best
to
opening
judge
weekend,
a
right?
movie in, like,
We did that
Because
Because
every
we
year.
would bet on opening weekend and we bet who would score higher for like.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
If it could be Lego Movie 2 this week.
But it was always kind of
Ryan, why don't
tense
you
because
start your
since we did these
box
monthly,
My box
sometimes we would know right away because we would both pick one that weekend. Sometimes it would take the whole month because one would come out one week and then the other one we would call way at the end. Because like here, How to Train Your Dragon, that was at the end of the month. I'm
Yeah.
curious what I picked here.
Yeah. Well, and it was always hard because some movies came out Thursday, some came out
Yeah.
Friday, some came out those Wednesday
Which
nights.
is why we had to, I think, specify Friday through Sunday.
Yeah.
Only numbers that came in those days.
Yeah.
That was it.
They'll take them.
You think it's going to corner that dragon market?
I think it's cornering that dragon market.
Even in the first episode, talk about dragons and Game
Did
of
not.
Thrones. Some things
Alright,
just never
so
change,
your
folks.
box office pick, How to Train Your Dragon 3. I think, you mentioned Lego Movie 2, I think it's actually going to steal that animation of the month market from How to Train Your Dragon 3. And I think actually Alita is going to pull it off for the best opening weekend box office.
I'm curious which one of us won this
sure.
one.
I'm pretty sure the Dragon won.
Especially because
They both
of
did
his
pretty good,
style,
Aaron.
That is,
his
but-
inventiveness. And Robert Rodriguez is also a
Robert
name
Rodriguez.
that's
You were
now
betting
on,
against your Robert
as well.
Rodriguez in this
So I
one.
think
How-
that's gonna
For
draw those
shame.
crowds. So
Kids.
Fake
we'll
fan.
see how
Don't
things
bet
shake
against
up
the
here.
kids.
How to Train Your Dragon 3 is coming out, so we'll have to see how that weekend really shakes up.
Yeah, I forgot we used to do
Next,
this
why
bet
don't
thing
you tell us
every.
what you think
every
critically
month.
is going to do the best?
Oh, we bet critically
This has
too?
been- this is
Man,
kind of a
we
hard pick,
focus
too.
way
Yeah.
too much
To be
on
honest,
too many things.
I'm gonna go back to the Dragon Market. How to Train Your Dragon 3. We'll get the best critic review of this month. The first two were great. Lego Movie's gonna be good too. But I think Alita will do fine. But I think Dragon is gonna steal the show. I think Dragon is gonna steal the critic reviews.
As much as I'd like to knock you down a peg and come up with a counter argument, admittedly that was going to be my pick, and then I gave you first dibs, which I'm now regretting.
Bad move.
Bad move.
It's
For
too
my
nice to you.
review pick, I'm going to pick Lego Movie 2. You have a very.
I don't think that one did as good.
team here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder
Obviously,
which
guys who
one.
were a part
Now
of
I feel like,
Spider-Verse are a part of this as well.
After this, we may have to
As
check
directing team, so I think they've got a really good
the next
track record.
episode, see who won.
And I think that's what's going to put it over the top as far as critic reviews go. So those are our bets. We will have to see
I
how
still
they
can't get
shake
over
up here
it.
at the end of the month.
It's been bothering me.
Look at
I just
them,
want to
start
reach
tapping
into the
the
screen
stats,
and
Trim it
just
up.
trim it.
We'll
Because this
come
right
back
here,
and,
this is
see who came out on top.
this might be the
On
longest
behalf of
beard
myself
ever
and
got.
Ryan, thank you so much, and we hope to see you next time on Popcorn Bucket List.
See you guys later.
Oh, that's
All right,
wild.
there you go. That was
That's wild.
that was the pilot episode of.
That was hard to watch.
That was our first go at Popcorn Bucket List.
Yeah.
And jump to 5 years later, we've gotten bigger, badder, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
All the ers. I don't know. What are some of your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. From where we were to where we are, I think the show the entertainment value has gone way up. The set has gotten way better. I think we talk more about movies than we just kind of talked about what critics thought and what we didn't talk about what we thought.
We started
as much.
developing our own opinions.
Yes.
And I wonder if part of that had to be we had to build our own trust in our own opinions.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. Because I feel like some of the things we say about movies now, there's no way we would have said about movies back then.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I have no problem saying that movie's terrible now. Like, I did not like that movie
And
at all.
that early on, we were hoping not to step on anyone's
Yeah.
toes. All
Yeah.
like 20 people who saw that first episode or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we didn't want to offend anybody.
yeah,
Um,
now I'm like openly calling out Mickey Mouse for the opening of some of our
yeah.
episodes and everything. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. I hope to many more years of it, and I look forward to the 200th episode to see where we go from here. I
Yeah.
guess. So tell your friends, tell anyone who enjoys movies to come and see our takes on it and argue with us and
Yeah.
everything like that. So
If
that way we
they-
can tell them that they're wrong.
Yeah. And I was going to say, if you want us to watch anything, we'll give anything a shot. We've seen a lot of stuff, but we're always looking to watch some more things. So let us
right.
know.
For myself and Ryan Meyerberg, we'd like to thank you so much for watching, and we will see you at the movies.